Hey guys, so I wanted to make this video because, quite frankly, I find it absolutely hysterical that this shitty meme unit AGL Mega Shenron and just this meme tier team GG Bosses has now become strong enough to actually just no item the hardest event in the game with like minimal effort. Like, this wasn't even that difficult, to be honest. It's actually insane how strong this team is right now. It's not the best villain team in the game, because Omega Shenron's full leader skill team is basically the best team in the game, but GT Boss shits on Super Bosses, dude. It's insane how strong this team is, and it's just absolutely hysterical just how good this team is right now, even though it is kind of wonky because you're basically just running Mono, Sin, and Omega Shenron plus Nova Shenron. But anyway, the reason I wanted to make this video, of course, is because AGL or Omega Shenron is like one of the biggest fumbles in Dokkan history. He was probably the worst designed unit of 2023, and we all know that 2023 was by one of the worst years in Dokkan history, period. So seeing this unit after 2 years of where it was basically never relevant whatsoever suddenly be good enough to actually be ran on a team and no item every single difficult stage in the game, except for festival battles, of course, it's just surreal to me. Like, and the most funniest part about all this is, like, this AGL and Omega Shenron isn't even like a case where you have to hide the unit all the time from all the attacks and let the entire rest of the team just carry him. Like, he can actually hold his own, which is just hilarious. But that's just because the way his kick was designed. Like, obviously his damage is crap. Like, he does no damage basically, but because the way his damage reduction works, on a full GT bosses setup, he has 35% damage reduction, and then of course he gets 7% damage reduction on every Rainbow Key Sphere. And since GT boss is just overflowing with Rainbow Key Sphere, Rainbow Op changes right now, you can easily get at least 3 or 4 Rainbow Key Spheres with Omega most of the time. And then he also gets the extra 20% Rainbow Key Sphere support from physical Ella Omega Shenron, and on his best turns he can reach 90% damage reduction. Usually he hovers around 75 to 82 or 83% damage reduction, which is still, it's not like good enough to tank every single thing in the game with like minimal damage basically, but it's good enough to get the job done and tank most attacks. Like, the only things he can't really tank are Rosé, this inch Rosé when he's built up, and also AGL Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta in the 4th stage of this special battle event. But everything else you can tank just fine. In fact, I've actually recorded a clip from a failed attempt in this stage where Omega was in slot 1, turn 1, and he had to eat a barrage of attacks from both Zamasu and Goku Black. He actually ate a super from Goku Black before Omega got his super off for like 400k damage or something, and this was without physical Omega, I think, on rotation as well. And then he dodged Zamasu super. It was insane. I still lost that attempt because of some other BS happening, but it was still crazy. I will probably make a YouTube short of this, and I also uploaded this clip on my Twitter account already. Maybe I can just link it in the description or something. But anyway, first off, let's actually go over all these stages. I'm gonna just commentate as this video goes on. We are first off, of course, against the Goku Black and the Master fight, which is the hardest fight in the game right now, just due to the amount of bullshit that can happen in this fight, and also just the fact that Intro Zay can hit ridiculously hard at some points. Like, it's so funny, dude. I'm at 2% HP, but I'm still just hanging in there. Zamasu, of course, tries to super Omega, the physical one, but he takes it for double digits. For some reason, people think that physical Omega dies as soon as he gets touched by anything, basically, which is of course nonsense. In this fight with this team, GT bosses, I mostly focus on Rosé first to kill him as quick as possible, because of course he's the way bigger threat than Zamasu, and Zamasu goes down pretty quickly, which you are about to see. This rotation that you're gonna see here is absolutely disgusting. Super easy A, Omega Shenron, and this Texan Shenron are just stupidly broken, in my opinion. Like, look at Omega, 85 million, like just casual, like just casual, 85 million damage, attack stat, and he can super 4 times in 1 turn, dude. Like, is this guy good? Guys, do you think this is good, guys? And then look at Sin, 54 million damage. That's attack stack. This is a fucking banner unit. A banner unit. He's better than half of the anniversary hours, dude. yeah, this GT boss is just insane. But so yeah, so that was the Goku Black and Zamasu fight. Like I said, first I'll focus on Goku Black because GT bosses just has such ridiculous high damage output that you can rush him down pretty easily and then just destroy Zamasu in one shot, basically. Now we are going up against the Goku and Vegeta fight. By the way, the Goku Black and Zamasu fight took me like 7 or 8 attempts, I think. This one, I think it took me 2 attempts, right? Because the first attempt, I just was very unlucky, basically, with the way they attacked, the way they positioned their supers. But here, I mean, you just saw what happened, right? AGL Omega Shenron ate 2 supers from these guys, and I still have like over 50% HP left or something. It's insane. If you had told me 2 years ago that Omega could do this kind of shit in one of the hardest stages in the game, I would have thought you were fucking insane or something, dude. It's absolutely crazy. The amount of glow up that he received. Like, he's easily the best unit of 2023 now. Like, who's better than him now? It's just insane. It's absolutely insane. And it's, of course, mostly thanks to, well, first off, it's thanks to GT bosses actually being 18 now. After, like, when was GT bosses released? I think in 2021, right? With Tech Super 17. And it hasn't been a good team since. And this is the first time in like 4 years now that GT boss is an actual team, dude. And of course, so that around, of course, really helps Omega. And then, of course, the star of the show, physical Omega Shenron. I just love his design, dude. It's so good. Like, yeah, he has weaknesses. The fact that he doesn't have God is kind of meh. He could have at least gotten that still, so he isn't as susceptible to big damage supers like the other GDC characters are, but his support more than makes up for it, and I just love the way he's designed. Similar to SDR Rose, actually, SDR Rose and Zamasu, where they both buff their allies to just such extreme levels, basically, that they kind of get a really easy A, honestly. I mean, SDR Rose kind of revived physical Rose from last year, and now this Omega revived this shitty 2023 Omega Shenron from the Chanabana celebration, who everyone thought was completely beyond saving, and now he's actually good enough to be ran on this team, dude. It's insane. Like, again, obviously, AGL Omega Shenron doesn't carry the team or something, but you will see throughout this video, like I said, first off, he can hold his own defensively just fine in slot 1, and then also his revive is, of course, still also huge help. I think, does he activate it here because Goku has the extra attack path? No. He takes this for 30k, dude. Oh yeah, nice double super, you bitch. Yeah, too bad. Yeah, but this fight with this GT bosses team isn't really all that difficult. Nova can completely shut down Goku, who loves to super at the end. Omega Shenron just destroys, this physical Omega Shenron destroys both of these clowns. Vegeta dies in like a few hits, especially thanks to Diesel Domain, which of course also does extra damage against superclass enemies. It's just a joke, basically. This fight is a complete joke. Just so a reference, I still haven't beaten this fight with the super boss team, at least not no items. Like, at least I don't think so. Yeah, because this, like I said, GT bosses just shits on super bosses right now. Now Nova, of course, I've racked on to him a little bit in my last video, but he's actually really good, dude. He's just not very good against the AGL Super Saiyan for Gogeta fight. But here, I mean, look. Guys, do you think this is good that you have a unit who is basically immune to super attacks for 4 turns? There's a free-to-play LR who shoots out these kinds of attack stats, dude. Like, Nova is also better than like half of the anniversary LRs, dude. It's insane. Although, to be fair, it's not just because the GDC units are just absolutely busted. It's also because the anniversary LRs weren't really the most tightly designed units for the most part. At least the Inch Goku and Frieza, Physical Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, and of course SDR Evolution of Vegeta. So yeah, that was the Goku and Vegeta fight. Now we're going up against the Omega Shenron fight in the special battle event stage 3. This stage, from what I've heard, or from what people are saying, is like either the second or third hardest stage in the game. The thing is, with this team, GT bosses, it's a joke. Like, this team completely shreds this event. It's insane. And just any character that has a domain basically completely screws over this fight. Even though this physical Omega Shenron enemy here actually gets buffed by the domain, it doesn't really matter. Because his territory buff would be way higher than the domain buff he receives. And also, like I said, the damage output of this team is just so high that you can actually finish this fight pretty easily. And if you have a domain character on the team, your goal is to finish off this Omega Shenron before your domains run out, because otherwise, once he receives the territory buffs, then yeah, he gets really scary. So this fight has varying amounts of difficulty in my opinion. If you have a domain character who's competent, like I said, Omega for example, SDR Cell also completely screws over this fight, then this fight is pretty easy. If you don't, then good luck. Then yeah, this is definitely the second hardest stage in the game, because it's basically just like the Goku Black and Zamasu stage. It has all the same gimmicks, plus you can't nullify the super because it's an other type super. It's just not as hard as the Goku Black and Zamasu stage because he doesn't hit as hard as Goku Black and Zamasu. But he also always supers in slot 1, and he also always stuns you, which can be very annoying depending on how your rotations pan out. If your hardest hitters are all in slot 1 and they just get continuously stun locked, then you will basically have no chance of doing any damage fast enough. But here you have enough damage dealers to finish him off quickly, and also just the typing of this fight is really good for this team, because you have, of course, physical Omega Shenron who does a lot of damage regardless, and then this S-tier Omega Shenron, I mean, we've already seen what this guy can do. He doesn't hit as hard this turn for some reason, but an SDR character, he could shoot out 80 million attack stats 4 times in turn. Needless to say, completely shreds this fight. Here he only does, in quotation marks, 62 million. Yeah, in my opinion, this SDR Omega Shenron is mostly just a damage dealer. His tanking isn't really all that impressive, to be honest. He's mostly just there for the attack debuff, and then of course damage he provides. The damage is what makes him so good, not exactly his defensive capabilities, which is kind of weird. I mean, they basically completely changed the entire identity of this unit, because he was never supposed to be a good damage dealer, but I mean, sure, why not? I mean, he's more fun this way, in my opinion. Just, that's another thing I really love about Physical Mega's team. Not just GT Boss, but his entire team in general. They just all do such obscene amounts of damage to it. It's just insane. You can melt all of these bosses so fast. Like, every single record I currently have in these difficult fights is all with Omega's team, because it's just so good at dealing damage so fast. Like, yeah, I know Tech Vegeta is probably still number 1 when it comes to damage in this game. It's just, what difference does it make when the opponent is already dead by turn 5 when you use Omega's team, you know? It's also the reason why I absolutely think that SDR Rose is better than, for example, the LR Super Saiyan 4s, the physical Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta unit. I mean, yeah, cool. Transformed Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta is absolutely busted. Yeah, by the time you reach turn 4 with Team's team, the enemy is almost dead anyway, and just gets sniped by Zamasu's active or something. It's just, the damage output of this team is just absolutely ludicrous. And you know me, I'm also a damage guy than a defense guy, so of course I will have a field day running this team. Here Nova Shenron again comes in clutch with his active skill, which also does like 60 million damage, way higher than, for example, Goku Frieza's active or something. And then of course the thing that is most important is the attack break, since it prevents Omega here from supering, so Nova can actually attack in slot 1 and also deal insane amounts of damage basically. So yeah, like I said, this fight is not a challenge for this team. It took me 1 attempt for this team because it's just free, basically. Like, ideally, of course, if you ran Omega's team, you would probably, if you just went if you didn't really care about running GT bosses, you would just replace Texan probably with SDR Cell, and then the Legion of Shan Dragons with SDR Rose, and then maybe, of course, and then of course also replace AGL Omega with someone else, I guess, and then basically just another extreme SDR unit or something, and just completely steamroll this fight. Like I said, it's not challenging, and yeah, we see you. So yeah, this was the physical Omega Shenron fight, which can be up to the second hardest fight in the game, depending on the team you run. Yeah, also I broke my record with GT bosses. Now we're going up against the Gogeta fight. This was actually the hardest stage for me with this team, because it just doesn't really have a good matchup against this phase, or against this fight. AGL Gogeta is of course an AGL unit, like I just said. And this means SDR Omega is basically unrunnable here. Like, you can't really run this guy. He can sort of tank in the first turn, but only if you put him in slot 1. I don't even think he can defeat the super in turn 1. and then afterwards he's just a complete liability defensively, and then his damage isn't really that important. Also, I just got 5 Rainbow Keys here, so Omega, you are about to see how much damage he's gonna take from Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta's Big Bang Kamehameha. But yeah, this of course really sucks, of course, that you can't really run Omega in here, which of course nerfs your damage output a lot. The thing is, of course, we still have Ella Baby as an option to run, and that's why I ran him. He also can do pretty good damage. He doesn't really care about typing. He can also go Giant Ape, which I think he does in this attempt. Yeah, I think that's why I win also, yeah, because he basically, of course, the Giant Ape, we all know how this works. It nullifies the supers, or not doesn't nullify them, but it basically uses up the supers from the enemies for the turn, which means they can super once you're out of the Giant Ape, and that's of course really important in this fight. The thing that makes this Gogeta so scary are of course the supers, the double supers, which are pretty predictable. At least in the first 3 turns, he always supers in slot 2 and 3, but then afterwards he can just super anywhere basically. Then he just completely changes his pattern. Also, Omega just took quadruple digits damage from this guy, when the other character on the rotation, I think it was the Legion of Channel Dragons, took like 500k or something. Yeah, like I said, Omega can be pretty good. And look at Baby, dude. Look at how much damage Baby is already taking. Now imagine if this was SDR Omega, dude. I would be dead probably on this rotation. But anyway, yeah, this fight, like I said, can be very challenging. I also just had very bad luck in this fight all the time when I ran different teams in there here. In my opinion, at least in my experience, I find this fight harder than Omega, but I haven't really used other teams than GT Bosses and SDSL's team against Physical Omega, so maybe he is really just harder than Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, I don't know. But I find this Gogeta fight also very, very strong and annoying. When it comes to difficulty in these special battle events, like I said, first, the most difficult fight in the game period is just the Goku Black and Zamasu fight, like there's no question about it. Then, like I said, number 2 for me would be Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, then Omega, and then with a huge gap are Goku and Vegeta, the Super Saiyan Blue duo. They are just not as threatening in my opinion. They don't hit as hard, they don't really have any annoying gimmicks. Vegeta can be annoying with stunning in slot 1, but whatever. And yeah, but they go down pretty quickly as a to compensate for that, so I don't really find this stage all that difficult. At least, of course, it still depends on the team you run. With some teams they struggle more on this stage, with some teams struggle more on the other stage. It's just this first stage is this stage where almost every team struggles, basically. I can't really think of a team that doesn't have problems in there. I also think Festival Battles is probably harder than the Goku and Vegeta stage, but it's not as hard as the other 3 stages in this special battle event, so that's definitely the hardest fight in the game, in my opinion. I actually like that the way they designed the hard continent stage, and usually in these big celebrations you get these events with multiple stages like Red Zone or Supreme and Simple Battle, where like in part 1 they usually drop the easy stages that can be easily steamrolled, which are basically just Dragonstone farming stages, to be honest. And then part 2 they get more difficult, and then in part 3 you can get the actual real fights. And in my opinion, I mean, yeah, it's nice that you get extra stones, but you can get these extra stones anywhere. Basically just design any event you want. But aside from that, for someone like me who loves challenging, difficult fights, these earlier stages are usually a waste of time. So I'm actually glad that they released these difficult stages right away, and they also serve a purpose in giving you equips for your characters. You know, I actually really like the way they designed this. Hopefully they keep doing this, because it's just nice that you have a difficult fight, which also gives you a good reward by making your character stronger. You know, it's just, I really like this. I really hope they do this more often. Honestly, they could just do this for every Dokkan Fest character they release. Why not? Like, who cares? And these fights they are very tough and can be very toxic, but it's not frustratingly so, in my opinion. Like Fusion Zamasu, the inch one from Red Zone 2033 is like the best example of how not to do difficult, annoying fights. He just had very similar gimmicks to Goku Black and Zamasu, the special battle fight, but first off, you didn't have any units really, or barely any units that could handle this kind of shit, which here you do actually, and just overall the fight felt less rewarding to play against, because once you used items, that fight was a complete joke, and that doesn't really apply to the Goku Black and Zamasu fight. And then also the temp limit, of course, was a huge problem as well. If these fights had temp limits, then good luck. Let's just say that. So yeah, this is the end of this fight. I could have been cocky and just put AGL Omega in for slot 1. You would have eaten Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta sits just fine. It's just why drag this out. I mean, Gogeta can't super this turn anyway. Even if for some reason I died, I would have just revived it Omega, because once you're below 50% HP, you just have to revive ready. Yeah, so I just decided to just finish it up. But yeah, this was GT Bosses and AGL Omega Shenron in the most difficult event in the game. Let me know what you guys think, and see you all next video. Bye.